we said Anna Coroner spent several weeks in Afghanistan earlier this month, and she has an exclusive report now on one of the people she met and his journey out of the country. Take a look.
His family piled into a taxi with just a bag of belongings. Abdul Rashid Shahzad hoped this was farewell to Kabul's dust-covered streets.
Yeah, heading to the airport, hope to make it and survive.
The 34-year-old former Afghan interpreter knew their chance for escape was slim.
That's a Taliban vehicle right there with the white flag.
But as the father of 3 young boys, the alternative was not an option.
That's Ali Akbar, that's my wife right there. This is me, and this is Ali Abbas, and that's Ali Umed right there.
Once at the airport, Rashid realised he'd made a mistake. His eldest child nearly trampled in a chaotic sea of humanity, also desperate for a way out.
That's the Marine gate right there. There is no way to get inside.
This was the family's second attempt at the airport within days, and as darkness fell, reality set in.
With this crowd, it's impossible.
We met Rashid last month in Kabul while doing a story on Afghan interpreters who'd worked with the US military only to be left behind. A number of them had recently been executed by the Taliban, and Rashid, among others, feared they would also be killed. Rashid had spent 5 years working for the US Special Forces, SEAL commanders describing him as a valuable and necessary asset who braved enemy fire and undoubtedly saved the lives of Americans and Afghans alike.
These guys were your American brothers?
American brothers, yeah.
But at the end of 2013, his contract was terminated after he failed a polygraph test. So when he later applied for an SIV to the United States, his application was automatically denied. Rashid and I kept in touch after I left Afghanistan. And in a matter of weeks, the country had collapsed and was now under Taliban rule.
I don't want to be killed by the Taliban. They're gonna cut our heads off if they find my location. Please help.
CNN evacuated staff from Kabul with the help of a security team on the ground working with British paratroopers inside the airport. The channel established was now an opportunity for Rashid.
Assalamu alaikum. CNN, sir.
Before dawn on Sunday, 22nd of August, Rashid, his family and another 9 people were picked up at a location near the airport. They were driven close to a Taliban checkpoint near the Baron Hotel back gate, manned by the British.
We are at the back gate of Camp Baron. We are so close to the gate. If they just come to the gate, they can see us. They can see us from the tower.
In less than an hour, British paratroopers let them in.
Hey Anna, we good. We are inside now. Thank you so much.
But celebrations were short-lived. US Marines would not allow Rashid and his family past the checkpoint because they did not have a visa.
The Americans asked just for US visa and US passport. That's it.
A frantic 7 hours ensued as messages and phone calls between London, Hong Kong, Atlanta, Virginia and Kabul were made, coordinating with security on the ground. Once his identity was confirmed, they were through.
We are at the airport terminal. We made it. We are really excited.
For almost 2 days, they waited patiently at the airport as thousands of fellow Afghans were airlifted to a new life.
Another aircraft about to take off. Lots of Marines there.
Then it was their turn, exhausted but happy, aboard a C-130 to the US base in Bahrain.
We are in Bahrain.
Less than 24 hours later, they were on the move again.
Somebody knocked our door and they said, pack your stuffs up, you got a flight now. We are so excited. We still don't know where we are heading to, so hopefully it's US.
And sure enough, their wish had come true.
Our aircraft is landing in DC, that's Washington. We are this close, everybody is excited.
In the space of 4 days, they were on US soil.
How does it feel to be in America?
We are so lucky that we are safe. It is beautiful to be here. We were the luckiest people,
Housed at Fort Lee Military Base, Virginia, while his SIV is processed, Rashid was reunited with a SEAL team member who he hadn't seen for 9 years.
I'm glad you guys made it.
A second chance at life for an eternally grateful family whose hearts may remain in Afghanistan, but whose future now lies a world away. Anna Corrin, CNN, Hong Kong.
Thanks to Anna for that story. Well, Marine veteran Elliot Ackerman served several tours of duty in Afghanistan before becoming a successful author. He joins me now live from Italy, where he's been helping people evacuate from Afghanistan. Elliot, hi. Good to have you on the show. You heard Anna's story there. It's a good news story. It's a heartwarming tale. So many others, though, aren't as lucky.
That's absolutely right. Many others did not make it this far, and we've left behind thousands of our Afghan allies, to say nothing of the U.S. citizens, and these are people that we made promises to over successive decades, and to see them abandoned this way, frankly, kind of somewhat casually, is one of the most shameful things I've seen in my life.
And you've actively been trying to help, along with many other veterans around the U.S. and around the world.
We have.
How difficult has it been?
Like I say, it's very disconcerting to see that the haphazard way this evacuation was undertaken has led to so much of the burden of this evacuation falling onto veterans, journalists, activists, really anybody who has had experience working in Afghanistan and build relationships with Afghans. So had we had a more well-planned, more deliberate evacuation process, this was avoidable. This was all utterly avoidable.
The Taliban says the airport will be reopened in a few days, that people with visas will be able to leave. Do you believe it'll be that simple? Do you believe them at all?
Well, the Taliban is also flying a captured Black Hawk helicopter with a dead body strung beneath it above the skies of Kandahar. So, no, I don't believe the Taliban. I think it's a fantasy to be believing the Taliban. I think the administration seems to want to believe the Taliban because it's convenient for them, but to do so is the height of folly, and it's the same type of magical thinking that led us into this catastrophic withdrawal in the first place.
Obviously, a lot of blame has been thrown about. One of our previous guests, a veteran as well, said the exit was an operational failure, that blame needed to be laid at the military for not having a safe exit strategy for troops and for civilians. Do you agree, or do you see this more as a political failure?
I put the blame for this at the very top. I mean, listen, I was working and in conversation with folks like Congressman Seth Moulton, Peter Mayer, Jason Crow, as far back as April, immediately after President Biden announced his withdrawal. And they were pleading with the White House to begin a deliberate evacuation process. They sent letters. They received no answer in return. And listen, it doesn't take a strategic visionary to see that this was going to be extremely challenging. You only need to understand a little bit of the history of Afghanistan to know how these types of withdrawals have played out, or you only need to look at a map to recognize that Afghanistan is not, for instance, Vietnam with hundreds of miles of coastline from which to evacuate people from. It is a landlocked country. So why then would you begin to shut down your air bases and be left at this late juncture with a single point of egress, Kabul airport? And that is what led to this being such a disaster.
There is this image, quite a powerful one, of the last soldier walking out of Kabul airport onto his plane. What does that image mean for you? What does it make you feel?
Well, as much as we're talking a little bit about the kind of the operational incompetence that we've seen here with this withdrawal, I would go a little bit broader. I'd say there's also a little bit of strategic incompetence. Not a little bit, I think quite a bit of strategic incompetence. We've seen this image before. I mean, unfortunately, I think oftentimes in the United States, people have a very short attention span. But I recall in 2011, when the last soldier drove his Stryker fighting vehicle across the border from Iraq into Kuwait, and we announced that that war was finally over. Then, lo and behold, we left a power vacuum in Iraq, and 3 years later, American troops were back in Iraq to fight the Islamic State. So I think we are very much going to see the exact same type of dynamic playing out in Afghanistan. So yes, at this moment, the troops are out of Afghanistan, but America might be done with Afghanistan. Sadly, I do not believe that Afghanistan is done with the United States.
There's been so much uncertainty, and to sort of follow on from that comment, how do you see the next months playing out as the volatility certainly seems more and more problematic in Afghanistan? The Taliban have a lot to try and stabilize, and many analysts saying, you know, that's really not going to happen.
Well, I certainly agree with those analysts. I don't think the Taliban is going to have an easy time governing all of Afghanistan peacefully. They weren't able to do it in the 1990s, and now you have an Afghanistan 20 years later that is more modern. You have a world that is more open. So I don't think that the Taliban is going to be able to successfully do that. You also have many warring factions inside of Afghanistan. So all the conditions are set to incubate the types of extremism that came out of Afghanistan before September 11th, 2001. And sadly, I think the United States is less safe because we're going to have and really the Western world is less safe because we're going to have far less insight into what is actually occurring inside of Afghanistan. You know, we've turned it into a black hole, and I think it is too predictable that something is going to crawl out of that black hole and strike at the Western world.
Elliot Ackerman, thank you for your perspective. Thank you for joining us here on the show.